Hi there, this is the finale of the Rick on Tesla Invest to Lease test, and we'll find out today, as it's now 3 years since I took up the lease and invested in the shares, as to whether that was a good idea to invest in Tesla shares as opposed to actually buying the car outright. So let us dive into the numbers, and no big surprises. In the last 3 months, we started off at 178, I think it was, and now we're pretty much identical. So it's been down to like 140, up to almost 200, but basically flatline for the last 3 months or so, which isn't great news because it means that if I go to my shares tracker website, we can see here that the final scores on the doors is Tesla stock price when I bought it just under 201 has actually gone down to 177.48. So despite it at the best times going up to the equivalent of about 420, obviously in hindsight should have just binned off the experiment at that time, or just sold off the money that I'd made and cashed that out and left the rest in there. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, and it was always going to be a 3-year experiment. So here we go. Yeah, it's now like 8,500 loss. Good news is I don't have to sell today, so probably just let it ride and hopefully let it recover. But that's where we're up to. And yeah, let's have a look at what would have happened if I'd have put it in the S&P 500, which was an option, obviously something maybe a little bit safer. So the return would have been pretty decent. So it had gone from 51,000 up to 66,687. Annualized return of 9%, which is exactly what you expect in the S&P 500. I think if it had been a year earlier, it wouldn't have been quite so good. In fact, I think it would have been, slightly negative. So yeah, that's just a hat tip towards long-term investing in an index fund would have been a lot better. And yeah, let's have a look at the spreadsheet now and see where we're up to. Plug in these final numbers. So we are at 177.64, and we're going to expand these out. I think they're going to be very similar. Okay, so we've lost 0.57%, so overall minus 11.62%. And I think I just need to update the figures down here. So sell price is going to be equal to this one over here, which 177. So it'll be very similar. So if I was to sell today, then I would have lost money on it. But like I mentioned in the last video, there is a bit of a silver lining, which is if I'd have bought it and then come to sell it today, if I look at the comparables on Auto Trader, if I flip, then I just pulled up a Tesla Model 3 long range. These are Cat S, so don't really count, but yeah, 21,000 would be something equivalent. 22. So if we go back to the spreadsheet, plug in, let's call it 21,500, then total cost of ownership would have been 30,000. So if our lease was 20, I've lost how much here? 8.5. And I guess I'm slightly up if I wanted to put a silver lining on it. So moral of the story, should have invested in a index fund. I think the model of Invest to Lease is a pretty decent idea. And obviously, in hindsight, should have cashed out when it was at its peak, but you never know when it's at its peak, etc. And it's always going to be that 3-year test. So that will do us. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed coming along for the ride and had a bit of a giggle at my expense. But there we go. I'll be holding on to my Tesla shares and hoping that they recover over the next year or two. All right, so hope you've enjoyed that series, and maybe I'll see you again in a future video. All right, cheers for now.